I think the court has the order, but $1,624 on the child support and $203 on the medical support. There were 4 children in, 1 children out. So I don't believe the court used 4.5% on the medical. I believe the court used 3 point would have been 3.6. The court effectively went down from the 4.5 on the medical because of the newest child. So requesting the court to keep those numbers the same. Requesting the court to confirm arrears as of September the 30th. And I apologize that I've not emailed Ms. Molina the pay record. But I'm showing Mr. Cade is current on his child support as of September the 30th and owes a medical support balance of $812.29. So asking the court to confirm that and defer to the court as far as repayment amount. And then the court ordered third-party non-disclosure, so asking the court to continue that. And then the court previously waived court costs because Mr. Cade is a veteran and is also current law enforcement. And I imagine the court will want to continue that.
All right, thank you. Ms. Carter.
Yes, Your Honor. Respondent father today is requesting a 50-50 possession schedule as part of his request for modification. He has been keeping track of the amount of time he has been spending with the children. And if you, I had submitted my exhibits to Ms. Molina yesterday.
Ms. Carter, I got a heck of an echo going on with you for some strange reason. I'm not sure what's causing that. As far as your audio is concerned, is anyone else hearing that?
I don't know how to fix. I don't know how to. Is there anyone? Does anybody know how to fix that?
Are you using a microphone or earpod or AirPods or anything like that, or just
just a computer, Your Honor? Okay. And I'm not the one here that is using Zoom.
I muted the father, Your Honor. Sometimes that was what might have been going on. It's
is the father in the same room with you, ma'am?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor. He was unmuted, and sometimes when someone else is unmuted, it will cause that. I don't know if that's fixed it any bit.
All right, thank you very much. Ms. Carter, I hate to say this, start all over again, and hopefully
that's okay.
It won't be, I can understand because it wasn't too bad, but it was, I want to make sure I heard everything. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. If it continues to be bad, let me know and I'll figure something out.
All right, thank you.
But just to start from the beginning, Your Honor, my client's requesting, as part of his request for modification, a 50-50 possession schedule. I've sent my exhibits to Ms. Molina, and these exhibits will show that at least from March of 2024 until now, he has been exercising almost to the dot a 50-50 possession schedule. So he's wanting for that to continue and for that to be made a final order today. He's also requesting that his current child support obligation be terminated as of today due to that fact, that he has been exercising a 50-50 possession schedule, and he would like that to continue. And that is what my client is requesting.
All right, then. Well, all right, so under the prior order, he has a standard possession order, correct?
Yes, sir. He has a standard possession order in the prior.
All right, then. All right, this time, so I'll go ahead and let the state, they have the original pleadings in this matter. Let's go ahead and let them call their first witness, and then I'll let you go ahead and proving your case up, ma'am, and we'll see where this one goes. Anyway, I'm going to check a couple of things while y'all are talking to your witness, or calling your witnesses and getting the testimony, and I'll go ahead and let Mr. Diamond start out. Thank you, Mr. Diamond. Call your first witness, please, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Before I do, I would offer what's been marked as States 1. The email just went out to Ms. Molina a minute ago, but maybe I could share my screen.
I got it.
Oh, wow, she's fast. Okay.
All right. And you've already supported it to counsel, correct?
Yes, Ms. Carter, I showed it to her this morning, Your Honor.
All right, then.
Yes, sir. We went over it this morning.
All right, then. All right, I have State's exhibit number 1 here. This is the financial tree report. In this case, it shows what monies have been paid through the state disbursement unit for the purpose of child support and cash medical. And I'll start with you, Ms. Carter. Any objection, ma'am, to this coming in evidence?
No objections, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Stelle, any objections to Stage 1 coming in evidence, ma'am?
No, sir.
All right, Stage 1's admitted. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll call Mrs. Stelle, Your Honor. Mrs. Stelle, will you state your full name, please?
Adrielle Monica Stelle.
Okay. So let me talk about what I'm asking, and then you'll probably have some thoughts too. So my request to the court is to go ahead and find that Mr. Cade is current on his child support, but he owes some medical support. Is there any objection to that part of what I'm requesting?
No.
Okay, and then my next request is going to be that the child support amount that was ordered previously at the temporary order, $1,624, and the medical support, $203, that those remain in place. Do you have any objection there?
No.
Okay. Your Honor, if it pleases the court, my preference would be to pass the witness now. I could ask her about the 50-50 and whatnot, but I think I'd rather listen to Ms. Carter's questions first, if that's acceptable. I guess I would probably be expanding the scope of my redirect in doing so.
All right, then. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm going to go ahead and obviously Ms. Carter can go ahead and ask questions to the witness at this time. But now, after that, I'm going to go ahead and let her put her case on the sheet. The burden of proof falls on her and her client to show the court why the court should do what she's requesting. And since that seems to be the 800-pound gorilla in this matter, we'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and let her start on that. So at this time, Ms. Carter, I'll go ahead and let you have Mrs. Stelle as a witness. Or you can go ahead and start your case in chief and call your client, or you can call Mrs. Stelle. You can do it however you want to do it, ma'am. Thank you.
Your Honor, I think for this, for the sake of keeping things kind of in order, it might be easier for me to call my client first.
That's what I was thinking. So thank you. All right, then, so you'll have the right to recall Mrs. Stelle in a moment. Mrs. Stelle, we'll be back in a moment. We're going to go ahead and take the matter up that as far as Mr. Cade's pleadings for the modification are concerned. You may proceed at this time, Ms. Carter.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I'd like to call my client, Mr. Cade. Where is it that you work currently?
CDL Bruceville 80.
And how long have you worked there?
Since February.
And what do you do for work there?
You say what?
What do you do for work there?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm a police officer.
Thank you, sir. And how much do you make on average per month?
We went from $16.84 to $18 at the 1st of October.
Thank you. And do you have medical insurance for any of the children the subject of this case?
No, ma'am.
And how many children do you have that are subject to this case?
4.
What are their names?
Ashton Josiah Cade, Mason Landon Cade, Callie Brielle Cade, and Carson Avery Cade.
Thank you. And do you have any children that are outside of this proceeding?
Yes, ma'am, I have 1.
And how old is that child?
He's 3.
And Mr. Cade, I had previously sent you a list of exhibits. Exhibits 1, which is a summary of requested relief. Exhibit 2 and 3, which are payrolls. Have you had a moment to review these exhibits?
Yes, ma'am.
And are they true and accurate documents requesting from the judge in your pay?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to offer exhibits 1, 2, and 3. I had emailed them to Belinda yesterday.
I've got them.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Well, first off, I'll ask the state. I'm sorry. What copies forwarded to the state on this one also, Ms. Carter?
Yes, I believe I had CC'd Mr. Diamond to that email yesterday, and I believe I CC'd Ms. Stelle as well.
All right, then. All right, so Mr. Diamond, and I'll start with you, Mr. Diamond. Any objections to respondent fathers 1, 2, and 3 coming in evidence at this time?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Stelle, did you get a copy of respondent fathers 1, 2, and 3? You muted, ma'am.
No, I did not.
All right, so number 1 is just a summary of the relief he's requesting, ma'am. It says he's requesting to be awarded 50-50 schedule. He's requesting the child support to be terminated, and he's requesting any and all other relief that's in the best interest of the children. it's pretty much what as attorney said. The other items are all financial information, ma'am, that are pertinent to what we're doing here today. So is there a legal reason any of these should not come in evidence at this time, ma'am?
No.
All right, so respondents fathers 1, 2, and 3 are admitted. You may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Cade, what kind of possession schedule were you previously ordered? Or previously awarded?
So to be honest with you, whatever the court had in that paperwork, that's what they gave me. But we never went by their schedule because, like I say, I get my kids when I want to. You know what I'm saying?
Mr.
Go ahead.
Cade,
I'm sorry.
Mr. Cade, my question is, what possession schedule were you awarded by the court?
I guess the typical schedule that they give all parents.
Mm-hmm. And you were required to pay child support, correct?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
And has it been difficult for you to maintain that child support obligation?
I mean, no, because they take it out of my check. I mean,
Okay.
it hurts me financially, but I mean, they take it automatically out of my check.
Mm-hmm. And Mr. Cade, has it been difficult for you to maintain this child support obligation due to the fact that the kids reside or stay with you for 50% of the time?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Could you please describe to the court what kind of possession schedule you have been exercising of the children?
So basically with my job, we're on a Panama schedule, where we get every other weekend off. It's a short, long week. So basically on all my off days, I get my kids majority of the time. So like the Panama schedule, you 14 days on, 14 days off. But we're a small department, so some days I might get the kids extra if I have to work on one of them days, but it still equals 14 days or more.
So would it be fair to say that for each month you have 50% possession of the kids? You have the kids 50% of the time?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
And how do you normally communicate your days on and days off with Mrs. Stelle?
I mean, she pretty much know my whole schedule, but like I say, if we have like training or if I have to go like work an extra day for work, like I'll communicate with her and then like we just basically go from there. Like I end up getting the kids like an extra day or something like that. We don't miss the time out with them.
Okay. Does this happen very often?
Probably like once a month, maybe, not even that.
Okay. And how long have you and Mrs. Stelle been exercising this 50-50?
Probably since February.
Okay.
Previous to that, we were staying together, so.
I understand. Mr. Cade, I had previously sent you what's marked as Father's Exhibit 6. Do you have that in front of you?
Hold on just a minute, I'm sorry. You said 6?
6.
Yeah, I got it.
Without describing the details of this document, could you please tell the court what it is?
So basically what that is Exhibit 6. Those are all the days that I basically had the kids or whatever, based on my my work schedule.
So is it a calendar?
Oh, yes, ma'am. It's basically like a calendar. February and March, I was kind of like still like on LTO and training, so that's the reason why the days are off. But like pretty much the schedule is based on like the Panama schedule or whatever.
And does this Exhibit 6 encompass the days that you had the children as well as your work schedule from March 2024 until August of 2024?
Oh, yes, ma'am. So like all the blank days on that calendar are like the days that she had them or whatnot.
When did you start maintaining this calendar?
Probably back in like I'm gonna say probably back in like March.
Okay. And has this document been altered in any way?
No, it hasn't.
And does it accurately reflect the time that you had with the children?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Your Honor, I'd like to offer Father's Exhibit 6 as into evidence.
Any objection to the father 6, Mr. Diamond?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Diamond, do you have the ability to send Mrs. Stelle a copy of this?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. I'll forward on the email from Ms. Carter if that
All right.
that works.
All right, Ms. Carter, I'm gonna hold, asking her whether or not she has any objections to, she has the opportunity to review this document. Because
Yes.
again, this is, yeah, she has to see it first, so.
Yes, sir. Completely
All right.
understand.
But go ahead and proceed and we'll come back. Once we, and ma'am, once you get it and read it, we'll confirm that you've got it and gone over it, and then we'll come back to you. Thank you. You may proceed, Ms. Carter. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Let me see here. Mr. Cade, is it fair to say you exercised about 15 days of possession of the children out of 31 days in March of 2024?
Oh, let me go back to the exhibit. Oh, I'm sorry. You said March?
Yes, March of 2024.
You said 15?
15.
Yes, ma'am.
And is it fair to say you exercised possession of the children for 12 days out of 30 days in April of 2024?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it fair to say that in May of 2024, you exercised 15 out of 31 days of possession in May of 2024?
Yes, ma'am.
As for June of 2024, is it fair to say that you exercised 14 days of possession out of the 30 days in April?
Yes, ma'am.
And for July of 2024, is it fair to say that you exercised possession of the children for 17 days out of 31 days in July?
Yes, ma'am.
And for August of 2024, is it fair to say that you exercised possession of the children for 15 days out of 31 days in August?
Yes, ma'am.
So kind of thinking about those numbers mathematically, is it fair to say that you pretty much average a 50-50 possession schedule of the children?
Yes, ma'am.
And from the time of March 2024 until now, have you and Ms. Estelle been amicable in scheduling this 50-50 possession schedule?
I mean, we have. Like I say, if I have a day off, I'll tell her and I just make that day up or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And what is Ms. Estelle's response to you asking her for a 50-50 possession schedule?
She doesn't want it.
Has she told you why?
I think it's basically behind money. That's all it is.
And Mr. Cade, regardless of her wanting or her telling you that she does not want a 50-50 possession schedule, you've still been exercising this time, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it your wish to continue exercising this time?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe that the children are doing better now that you are involved in their lives for 50% of the time?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know how they're doing in school?
Yes, ma'am.
How are they doing?
I know the baby girl, she got student of the month. Ashton, he had all B's in school. He was kind of upset that he had a C, but everybody's pretty much good in school. Mason, he's doing school besides, you know what I'm saying, just working with his ADHD.
Mm-hmm. Do you help the children with their schoolwork?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
How do you help the children with their schoolwork?
So basically whenever whenever they're over my house or whatever, like we have a schedule or whatever, because basically like read books and do like math problems or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen their performance in school improve since you've been helping them with their schoolwork?
Yeah, both of us do. You know what I'm saying? Both of us good parents with our kids. That's one thing we good. I'll make sure everything good in school.
Mm-hmm. And I know we talked a lot about the time that you spent with the kids. Why don't you tell me about the relationship you have with the children? What's that like?
I mean, I have a good relationship with my kids. They my kids. Like anytime I can get my kids, I'm gonna get my kids.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So like I'm a big father on that. So
And
even if I'm off on days that, you know what I'm saying, I post to work, I still get my kids. I love my kids to death.
how do you contact children when you're off of work?
I mean, we go places, like we'll go to the museum, we'll go to the zoo. Like we went to the beach this summer for a week. Whatever they want to do, I'll do it with them.
Mm-hmm. And I know you've been exercising this 50-50 possession schedule since March of 2024 and even a little bit before then. Are you able to get the kids to school?
Yeah, I get them to school. They
And
usually go to school at usually I get them at school probably like 7:30, 7:40ish. It depends on how everybody wake up that day, how they feeling.
yes, I understand. So it should, if the judge were to order a 50-50 possession schedule today, you would have no trouble getting them to and from school.
No, not a problem at all.
What about to and from doctor's
I'm
appointments?
sorry, which ISD are they in, please?
Killeen ISD. They go to
Right.
Hay Branch.
I'm sorry?
They go to Killeen ISD. They go to Hay Branch.
All right, thank you.
And just to provide a little context, is it easy for you to get them to and from school?
Yeah, it is. Like I say, like I work for a small department, so it's easier for if I need something done with my kids or something like that. All I gotta do is like, hey chief, I need to do this and do that. So like I'm able to coordinate with her on appointments, whatever need to be done. Like I'll do it. It's no issue.
Okay. And you mentioned your 14 days on, 14 days off schedule. Is that pretty consistent?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Cade, has Mrs. Stelle ever admitted to you guys exercising the 50-50 possession schedule?
Like in the text message, like the text message I sent, she clearly said that we share them equal amount of time. The text message I sent or whatever that I sent to you.
Mr. Cade, please don't refer to anything that you and I have communicated before previously.
Okay,
But
all right.
it's okay. But Mr. Cade, do you have Father's Exhibit 7 in front of you by chance?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you familiar with this exhibit?
Yes, ma'am.
And how are you familiar with this exhibit?
Because that's the text message that she had sent me.
Mm-hmm. And how do you know this text message is from her?
Because that's her telephone number right there, 512-758-3148.
And when did you two have this conversation?
It was probably like a couple months ago. I'm not sure the date.
Mm-hmm. Your Honor, I would like to offer Father's Exhibit 7 as evidence. I understand that Mrs. Stelle has been given these. Thank you, Mr. Diamond. So along with Exhibit 6 that I'm waiting on as well, I'd also like to offer Father's Exhibit 7 as well.
All right, then I'll let Mr. Diamond forward that out to her also, and then we'll come back to those and confirm that she received them and whether or not she has an objection. Thank you.
Beg your pardon, Your Honor. I forwarded the entire email on to Mrs. Stelle.
Okay.
So hopefully she has it by now. I know our software, the server, sometimes it's a little slow with its scrutinizing, but.
All right, Mrs. Stelle, have you received the copies from Mr. Diamond?
Yes, sir, I have, and I've been following along.
All right, then now, so we'll go back to the other one later, but for right now, we're on exhibit number 7, which is a email conversation. I'm sorry, a texting conversation that Mr. Cade is alleging that you and he had, and that this is a true and correct representation of that conversation. Is there a reason, ma'am, that should not come into evidence at this time? I know you're not a lawyer, but you technically represent yourself, so I have to ask you that. So do you have an objection, ma'am?
Yes, because based off of what I'm looking at for Exhibit 7, there's nothing stating anything about a 50-50 schedule. It's us discussing how he feels about my partner in that message and how he feels that.
Okay, slow down. All right, man. First off, the message speaks for itself. It's in the court. I haven't read it yet because it's not in the evidence yet. So again, I know you're not a lawyer, but it's not an objection that the conversation is not what he said it is. I'll read it, ma'am, and I'll see what it is if it comes into evidence. But is there a legal reason why the court should not be able to review this and see what it is and for what it is?
Sir.
All right, then.
No, sir.
All right, so for father's number 7 is admitted, and you may proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Cates, specifically on page 3 of this Father's Exhibit 7, could you please read the statement in which Mrs. Stelle refers to the 50-50 possession schedule?
Okay, so like we was basically having a discussion, and basically in that discussion, I had said that it's not right that, you know what I'm saying, basically that the kids are equal between both households, and she's getting the full child support amount financially. So basically, what she says, and she had like bullet points, of course. So in bullet point number 3, she says, "You're right, these kids are equally between our houses every week, and there's nothing I'm not willing to do nor sin with them. And 1640, you know dang well I'm not seeing not even half of that. And I haven't even started receipt." Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay, Mr. Cade. I was just wanting to ask you specifically. So in this text message, Mrs. Stelle was agreeing with you that the kids are equally between y'all's home every week, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I wasn't even allowed to submit fucking text messages.
Objection, Your Honor.
Ma'am, you can't do that. So, ma'am, again, I know you're not a lawyer, but I've got to hold you to the same standards as if you were a legal attorney, ma'am. So the bottom line is you can't interrupt someone else when they're testifying. You get a chance to tell your side of the story in just a moment. But again, it has to be in the form of a question and answer. We don't do narratives in courtroom. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and let Ms. Carter proceed with questioning her witness. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Cade, you and Mrs. Stelle co-parent well?
Not really. We have our good days, we have our bad days.
Mm-hmm. But do you guys try to make it work for the children?
It's not a good time right now.
And is that why you are asking the court to award you the 50-50 possession schedule so that you don't lose any time that you have been exercising since March with the children?
Yes, ma'am. I just don't basically want no hiccups, because basically, like, if she gets mad or whatever, she'll try to come take them from me or whatever. So I just want everything just to be on paper and in order.
Mm-hmm. And has Mrs. Stelle threatened you with that in the past?
I mean, it was an incident back in like I want to say like February, where she tried to come to my house or whatever and tried to take the kids away from me. I had to put a criminal trespass on her at that point in time.
Was that after you two had agreed that you were going to have the kids for that time?
Yes, ma'am.
And so is it your testimony today that you're wanting to have the 50-50 possession schedule on paper to avoid these types of incidents?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Cade, along with being along with asking the court to award you a 50-50 possession schedule, are you also asking the court to terminate your child support obligation at this time?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's due to the fact that you have been exercising a 50-50 possession schedule of the children and want to continue doing so?
Yes, ma'am.
And is there anything else that you'd like to support today?
It's just that, you know, financially it's not right that if the kids are between both households equally, that, you know what I'm saying, she's pretty much getting, you know what I'm saying, like my whole paycheck. So like, what is she doing as a parent? You know what I'm saying? If she's getting that income, Cause it makes it seems like that I'm the only person that's doing stuff for the, you know what I'm saying, kids financially. So that's all I got to say.
And are you saying that because the children are with you 50% of the time currently?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Diamond, your witness.
Mr. Cade, is there an issue with Mrs. Stelle's partner?
Does this has anything to do with the case?
Yo. Okay, here's the go, Mr. Cade. You are the witness. You do not get to ask a question. If your attorney wants to object to that question, then if your attorney can object to that question, but you are not allowed to do so, sir. That's why you have a lawyer, okay? So don't ever do that again, sir. Understood?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, now, Mr. Dahmer, please repeat the question.
Yes. Do you have an issue with Miss Stelle's partner, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What are the issues? What is the
so
issue?
my issues is basically whenever I was staying with Mrs. Stelle's household, she would basically put her partner before her kids or whatever. So that's the reason my issue with her. Like she would leave the kids like days and weeks at a time, just to basically put her before her kids. Basically, Mrs. Stelle didn't really start being a parent until I left the house in February. So that's my issue with the issue. So
I mean, your youngest with Mrs. Stelle is pretty young. I mean, she's what, 2 years old now?
I say he and he's two.
Excuse me, sir. My mistake. So he's two. So who was, if Miss Stelle was out of the house for weeks at a time, who's watching the child? The baby?
No, I'm not saying like weeks at a time, like leaving like 2 or 3 days at a time. I was pretty much with the kids all the time, including her other child.
But obviously you work pretty significant hours. So when you're on shift, then who's watching the baby?
I mean, obviously she is. But at that point in time, my last job or whatever, like if something needed to be done with the kids, I was pretty much, you know what I'm saying, taking the days off and doing stuff at my last job.
Okay. So by doing stuff, are you saying that you're the one that would take them to doctor's appointments?
Majority of them.
Okay. Were you aware of this ARD meeting today at the school?
That's for her other child.
Oh, excuse me. Okay. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Carter, your witness again. Ms. Carter, I want you to go back over with your witness, and then I'm going to give Mrs. Stelle the opportunity to ask the witness some questions. But I need I'm getting some time frames here that are out of whack here. I need to obviously I've got an old order that was done for the first 2 children, and then within that same year, the 3rd child was born, and then there was a 4th child. And I'm not, and he's testifying and I'm thinking he's testifying that they were together until this past September, and then they separated, and that's when he moved off. So I need to get some background information as far as where he's lived for the last couple of years, and who's he lived with, and where has he worked. Because again, this one's kind of all over the place right now, chronologically. Sorry. So thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Cade, when did you and Mrs. Stelle separate?
It was basically February of this year.
And when did you stop living with Mrs. Stelle?
February of this year.
Had y'all separated previously?
I mean, yeah, we was like off and on. But the longest I stayed with her, I think, was when Carson was born in 2022. Up until February, that's as long as we stayed together, really.
Okay. And let's start from Carson until 2024. From the time Carson was born until 2024. Where were you working at that time?
City of Mart.
I'm sorry?
City of Mart, M-A-R-T.
Thank you, sir. And so, were you doing a different job than what you're doing now?
No, I was a police officer still on the Panama schedule.
Okay. So your job hasn't changed?
Not really.
Has your schedule changed?
So the thing with Mart at that time period in 2023, we were basically down like 2 or 3 officers. So like our schedule, it was still on Panama, but it was like random days that we could get off, you know.
Okay. So is your schedule more consistent now?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Because you guys aren't down as many officers?
Yeah, I'm in a whole different city now.
Okay. When did you change jobs? When did you move?
February.
Okay. So February of 2024, you changed jobs, moved out of the home that you were living in with Mrs. Stelle, and separated from Mrs. Stelle, correct?
Yes, ma'am. So basically, I started working in October.
Okay.
And then that's when I filed for my modification in November because I was unemployed at that time from October up until February.
Okay. Pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Diamond, any other questions to this witness?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Stelle, you are your own counsel on this one, ma'am. You have the absolute right to ask questions of this witness if you wish. But here's the deal. I don't let pro se litigants ask questions without running them through me first. I'll go ahead and ask you if you have a question, what the question is, and I will see if it's an appropriate question based on these circumstances. You can ask questions about anything that's relevant. You can especially ask questions about anything he's already testified to. But again, and you cannot. Well, technically you kind of, but lay people don't know how to make do leading questions properly. You can't use your question to give testimony, ma'am. So that's why I have pro se litigants run those questions by me. So at this time, Mrs. Stelle, do you have any questions of Mr. Cade?
I just don't even understand how to ask your questions appropriately, so no, sir.
Okay, well, ma'am, if you have a question, you can like I say, run it by me, and I will tend it to him if it's appropriate. All right.
No, I'm okay.
But if you want to, ma'am, you can go ahead and I'll reserve your right to recall him on cross, and you can start writing down questions that you might want to ask him, and then we can come back. But for right now, if you want to just go ahead and not ask any questions, I'll go that route, ma'am. All right, because I'm getting ready to go ahead and take a brief recess. And anyway, so yeah, if you're through asking questions at this time.
Yes, sir, I'm done.
All right then. All right, Ms. Carter, real quick, Ms. Carter, anything else on the redirect?
Not necessarily on redirect, Your Honor. I would just like to revisit offering Father's Exhibit 6 as evidence.
All right, then I've already let 7 in, and Father's number 6. Ma'am, if you had the opportunity to review the calendar that of the schedule that Mr. Cade says that he had time with the children. Is there any reason this should not come into evidence, ma'am?
No, sir.
All right, Father 6 is admitted also. Do you have any other questions of your client this time?
No, Your Honor, I pass the witness.
All right, Mr. Diamond, any questions of Mr. Cade?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, then, Mrs. Stelle, at this time, if you may formulate any questions you'd like to ask the witness at this time.
No, sir.
All right, I've got one question, Mr. Cade. What city you live in, sir? You're muted, sir.
Harker Heights.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, I'll go ahead and allow you to call your next witness, Ms. Carter.
I'll call Mrs. Stelle.
All right. Mrs. Stelle, please unmute yourself. Mrs. Stelle, please state your full name for the record again, please.
Adjournment Stelle.
All right, thank you very much. You may proceed, Ms. Carter.
Thank you, Your Honor. Let's see. Mrs. Stelle, let's see. You have a copy of what was admitted as Father's Exhibit 7, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And just a yes or no, isn't it true that on the 3rd page of that correspondence, you had texted 3 dash, you're right, these kids are equally between our houses every week. Isn't that right?
Yes.
And then you have Father's Exhibit 6 in front of you currently, correct?
I'm getting a bad echo. Can you re-ask the question, please?
You have Father's Exhibit 6 in front of you, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And isn't it true that of March 2024, my client had possession of the children for 15 out of the 31 days in March?
No,
Isn't it true that my client had possession of the children on March 1st, March 5th, March 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 13th,
no,
20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 27th, and 28th?
no,
Okay. Isn't it true that the client had possession of the children April 1, 2, 12, 13, 14, 17, 18th, 22nd, 23rd, 26th, 27th, and 28th of April 2024 for a total of
yes,
of the 30 days in April?
yes,
Isn't it true that my client had possession of the children May 1st, 2nd, 6th, 7th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 16th, 20th, 21st, 24th, 25th, 26th, 29th, and 30th of 2024
yes,
for a total of 15 out of 31 days in May of 2024?
yes,
And isn't it true that my client had possession of the children June 3rd, 4, 7, 8, 9, 12, 13, 17, 18, 21, 22, 23, 26, and 27 of June 2024 for a total of 14 out of 30 days?
You said June 12, 13, 14, 15?
June 12, 13, 17, 18, 21, 22, 23, 26, and 27.
Yes,
Okay. Isn't it true that my client had possession of the children July of 2024 for July 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 15, 18, 19, 20, 23, 24, 28, 29, 30, and 31 for a total of 17 days out of 31 days, July 2024?
yes,
And isn't it true that my client had possession of the children August of 2024 on August 1, 6, 7, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 20, 21, 25, 26, 29, 30, and 31 for a total of 15 days out of 31 days in August?
yes.
Okay. Pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, John, the witness.
Yeah, Mrs. Stelle, in the average month, if we're going back to say the start of this year, how many days in the average month is Mr. Cade having the children?
Are we talking about full 24-hour days or just keeping them overnight and then I'm getting them back the next morning?
Well, why don't we start with overnight?
So for his overnight, if we go back to the Exhibit 6, if you look at a Sunday schedule where he picks, okay, prime example on August the 12th, because that's the first one that I have there. That's a Sunday, so he'll get them Sunday evening at 6:30. I will gain possession of the child back Wednesday afternoon at 4:30 in the afternoon, because they're at school all day on Monday, and then they'll spend the night again that night, and then he'll drop them off at school that Tuesday morning, and then I'll have them until like Thursday evening, and then I'll get them back depending on what he tells me, either Saturday evening if he has something to do, or I'll gain possession back again that Sunday morning because he wants me to have them picked up by 12 because he has something to go do. He goes to work his off-duty jobs.
Okay, so what the average week, it's you have him 4 nights and he has him 3, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the following week it'll switch. So on his short weeks where he's off on a Friday, he'll get them that Thursday evening and I'll get them back Sunday. And on his long weeks, he'll get them Sunday. I get them back Tuesday. well, excuse me, he'll get them back Sunday night at 6:30, between 6:30 and 7 p.m. And then I'll get them back Tuesday after school until Thursday afternoon. And I think I'm getting those crossed, but he always gets them in the evening time, and then I'll get them back the second school day after school.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry, because I didn't have time to get that. I didn't know I needed to get a calendar, because I could have wrote it down way better, like the exact times and dates. But it typically works a 6:30 on a Sunday evenings, between 6:30 and 7, and then I'll gain possession back on a Tuesday at 4:30, and then they won't leave again until either Thursday evening of that week or either Friday, depending on his schedule. Like, he'll let me know, like, I can't get them this Thursday, or I'll pick them up from school Friday. He does a good job at communicating with me if he cannot get them on the schedule, because we work based off of his work schedule. So if he cannot get them on the scheduled day that we have working between us, he'll let me know. Or in the unfortunate events, like he stated, when we're on bad terms, then he won't get the kids at all. Or
Okay.
it's me constantly having to ask.
Okay, so how many times, at least, how about let's go this way. Since we were last in court, I think we were in court at the beginning of May. So how many times since we went to court have y'all been on bad terms?
The entire time.
Okay, so since we last went to court, how many periods did he miss? Those, for lack of a better term, those times with the children.
I'm gonna say at least 2.
All right, but the schedule that for those time frames, ma'am, I don't see one for September yet. Obviously, that's when school started. But for those time frames in the calendar, you testified. I think the only one you testified to that
Was March.
Correct, was March, but everything else is correct. Correct, ma'am?
Yes, sir, correct.
All right, thank you. All right, you may proceed, Mr. Dunn.
Thank you, Your Honor. So again, I'm just trying to drill down here, and maybe I need to pull up the calendar, but it sounds like it's you know, 4 nights you, 3 nights him. That seems like that's about the average. So I think
Yes, sir.
yeah, okay. All right, but it sounds like your contention is that the daylight hours, you're getting a disproportionate amount of the daylight hours. Is that your contention as well?
I mean, since it's the school time, like they're occupied with school during the day, so it's neither him nor I that have them during the day. KISD has them for however, I think 8 hours they're in school, and then they're basically just spending the night. The only time they have full time with him is going to be on a Saturday, like where he has them a full 24 hours. Whereas other than that, it's how it should be, is when he's supposed to have them for how he would like it, is because of his work schedule, is on a Tuesday when I gain possession back, they technically should still be with him. But since he has to go to work that Wednesday morning, and I think he has to be at work by 7 a.m., it doesn't allow him to drop the kids off in the morning. So that's why I gain possession back the night before at 4:30. I picked them up from daycare, because
Okay.
he's not, even though he's still off that day, he is off for work. Since he has to work the next morning, he's not able to drop them off at school, because he has to be at work at 7, and the school doors don't open until 7. But our daycare opens up at 5:30 in the morning. But neither one of us want our children to have to wake up at 5:30 in the morning and then have to go sit in a classroom. And when they do,
Ma'am, you're getting way past the question. Okay, you're getting into the narrative of why you're doing this. So right now, it's just listen to the question and answer the question, and then stop. Okay, I get there's always a story behind everything, but right now, the only thing I need is that information concerning that time frame, and we'll get it. We'll double down here in a moment. Thank you.
So let me ask you this, and I don't really have a dog in the fight as far as the possession goes, but I'm just curious, and it might help to inform things. It looks like your oldest is going to be 7, and at least your oldest with Mr. Cade is going to be 7, and I think your youngest is 2. Is that right?
That's correct.
I mean, is that, how do they deal with being moved back and forth between houses so much? Does that not unsettle them?
They say they don't want to go, but I always have
Okay,
to tell them, like,
stop. Again, it kind of slipped in. Do not testify to anything the children say, okay? That's what you're saying, ma'am. All right, you can testify to anything the father said, anything you said, but don't testify to anything that any third party said, including the children. Thank you.
Okay, it's a struggle for me as a mom, but I just encourage and send them on their way.
Okay, so not getting into what they've said, but just what you've observed them do. Have you observed them struggle with this time schedule?
Yes.
Okay, let me ask you a question, and it may be yes, it may be no. Just it is what it is. But if Mr. Cade work schedule wasn't what it was, would you have agreed to something along these lines?
Yes.
Oh, even if he was working a regular 8 to 5 job, you'd be okay with him getting the children as much as he is?
As long as it worked with his schedule, yes.
Okay, all right, that's big of you. So let me ask you this. One of the things that the court can consider is whether or not to go down from the guideline child support calculation based on the amount of time that the non-custodial parent spends with the children. So with that in mind, do you believe that it would be appropriate for Mr. Cade to get some sort of a break on his child support because he spends more time than is typical in a case like this?
I mean, to me, no, because how I feel about it is, oh, okay, I'm sorry. No.
Thank you.
Okay, let me ask you this. He testified a little while ago that he's the one that gets them to doctor's appointments, and I'm using the
I
so you don't.
object to that.
Okay, he seemed to indicate that he was a lot of times the primary caretaker. What's your response there?
Like, no, we were both present in that household. When he's at work, I have the children, and vice versa. Me and Mr. K both work outside of the home. I mean, I'm now back in the home, but I've had the same consistent job since I met Mr. K for almost 5 years. I have not left my company. Due to COVID, we were at home, and then I went back into the office, so it's been back and forth. So we have.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Who do you work for?
I work for Accentraflex.
All right, ma'am. You say you're now working back at the home through the home again?
Yes. So.
Okay.
So,
I'm sorry. Yes, yes or no. And you do not go back in the office at all, or do you have to do a split schedule?
Right now I'm permanently at home, but it's getting ready to go back hybrid, like in the office, but I don't know when. It's all contingent. They say that they're going to move us back in the office permanently. That's been in the works for a long time, but for now I'm based out of the home doing the same job that I've been doing for the almost 5 years.
All right, thank you. Thank you. That answers my question, ma'am. Thank you. All right, I'm sorry, Mr. Diamond, didn't mean to interrupt that much. You may proceed with the next question, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. So all right, so who takes the children to doctor's appointments?
Me. I schedule the appointments, dental appointments. Those are me.
Okay, who buys the children's clothing?
Me. With the support of their child support. Everything that the kids have for school, when child support comes in, that is what it is used for. I don't ask Mr. K
right, but
for anything.
So, and I should have asked a tighter question. It sounds like you're the one that goes to the store to purchase the clothes. Yes.
Online orders, they all have my debit card attached to them. Shoe orders, what Mr. K does buy them stuff on his own accord, but it's not because he has to, because when I send them to his home, I pack a bag with clothes from my home. I send them with everything that they need and get that back.
Yes, ma'am. Extracurricular activities, are they old enough to have extracurricular activities?
Only our daughter is the only one who is in an activity. She's in cheer. She's the only one that really wants to do anything right now. The other children have not expressed anything.
So the questions are, who signed her up and who takes her?
Me.
All right, ma'am. And what cheer facility does she go to?
She goes to Texas Tumbler in Harker Heights.
Okay, well, judge knows where that is. I'm sorry. that got a little personal. Never mind. Anyway, and how long has she been doing that?
It's been almost 4 months now.
All right, and what's the cost of that per month, or how are you?
The tuition is $84 monthly, and then like the cost of uniforms, it just depends on what she picks out in their shop. Those uniforms run between $84 and up.
Yeah, they've gone up. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And ma'am, and do y'all share that expense?
Yes. So that's something that I discussed with him prior to enrolling her. He agreed to it, so that comes out of child support. That was a discussion that before it was moved forward, I was like, hey, Callie has expressed that she wants to do chair. This is what I found, as well as him. He has always sent me like extracurricular activities, but he's never enrolled them in anything. So when she finally said it to me again, I put that footwork in. I got her a trial lesson. I took her to that. Every class she goes to, I have taken her to. And if it's his pickup day, he will either meet me afterwards to pick her up. And that's just how it goes.
All right then. And so, ma'am, I say share expenses. Y'all agreed that that you would pay for it from the child support, or he adds money to it, or what are we talking about?
We agreed that I would take it out of child support.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Diamond, still your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. So hopefully there's not been any issues at school, but if the school needs something, who do they call?
They call me.
Okay.
Or my partner, because my partner, she is the one, because since my job right now, I am talking to people nonstop, like handling state cases. So if I'm not able to drop a call that I'm on and attend the school, my partner is the one that does go up there. And he has an issue with that. I have endless text messages of saying that she is not a parent.
I regret even getting into that.
Dan. Thank you. So yeah. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. And I regret even going there. I think we have most of it here. Let me ask you this. Obviously he does pretty well being in law enforcement. What do you make a month roughly?
Maybe like $2,100 a month, because I don't have my taxes come out during the year. I just pay my taxes at the end of the year, so I bring more home up front.
So you're a 1099 employee, ma'am?
I'm sorry?
You're a 1099 employee?
I think so.
They don't take out taxes, Social Security, Medicare, or any type of retirement, anything like that?
They take out like the federal and state taxes.
Oh, okay. They do take it out. Okay, so you are a salaried employee. Okay, I'm sorry. You're not an independent contractor. You actually work.
Oh, no.
Okay.
All right. No, sir.
All right. See, I was getting the impression that you were an independent contractor. Sorry. Thank you.
So if I can maybe follow up a little bit on that. The 2,100, is that before the taxes come out, or is that after the taxes get taken?
That's before the taxes are taken.
Okay. And your
well,
partner...
actually, no, I apologize. That's after taxes have been taken out. Because my checks are roughly like $1,200 a month. Excuse me. I'm paid semi-monthly, so I get paid on the 10th and the 10th and the 21st of every month. So I'm bringing home between 12 and 13 on a paycheck.
All right, so let's call it 2,450 roughly as your monthly before the taxes.
No, after taxes.
Yes, after taxes. I'm sorry.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Okay. What about your partner? What's your partner make?
She brings home maybe 13 after taxes, semi-monthly. And that's after taxes.
Yes, ma'am. I think that's probably the broad strokes and a little more. So I'll pass a witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you very much. I'm sorry, Ms. Carter, your witness again. Thank you.
I think I'll pass the witness, Your Honor. I don't think I have any questions for her.
All right, ma'am, I've just got one final quick question. You were mentioning in your testimony earlier that the father has side jobs. I know a lot of times, I believe in my deputies, my constables, they have side jobs as police officers. You say does he do something like that also, as well as being a member of the Bruce Valetti, PD?
Yes, sir, he does. On his off days, he goes and he works those off-duty jobs that he tells me are non-taxable. And
Okay, well, we'll get some information from him on that. Again, I didn't think about it, but over the since during this past summer, when we got the chart here, you know how many days he was? Does he tell you when he actually has to work those jobs, or do you just or are you not sure about it?
he typically he just tells me since our temporary order has been in place, he's just like, I don't have any off days. I have to work every day because of you in this money. So unless he's not really going, but I mean,
Okay, ma'am, that was the question. Does he tell you when he has to go to his off?
Yes.
If not, okay, thank you. All right. Anything else? Any other questions, Ms. Carter?
None, Your Honor.
Mr. Diamond?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you very much. All right, Ms. Carter, I always got to ask you, even though on Zoom I know the answer, unless you got somebody waiting in the wings in your office, and then I'm going to be upset because the rule wasn't invoked. Any other witnesses, ma'am?
None, Your Honor.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Diamond, do you have any other witnesses you wish to call at this time, sir?
No, Your Honor. Rest subject to close.
All right, then. Well, I'm going to have to bring Mr. Cade back in because I do need to get some information on those other jobs. Obviously, that's an income and it's non-taxable. Then that has to technically come into the mix. So we do need to recall him and get that information. Thank you. All right, Mr. Cade, you there, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Cade, you do. The mom said that y'all discussed it, but you do side jobs as a law enforcement officer, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, and how many times on the average since you've separated with the mom, how many times a month do you do these jobs, sir?
I mean, it's not guaranteed income. It'd be like a party or something like that, like, you know.
Right, so
the only thing I would go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, so when we was at trial last time, you told me basically go figure it out, and like that's the only way I can pay my bills or whatever, because you're taking majority of my check. So I would do it like once or twice or whatever. But as of this month, I'm like taking a break from off duty or whatever. I'm not doing it anymore.
Okay.
So it's not guaranteed money.
All right, but sir, my question was not right now. This past summer, during the time frames I got this information, how many times a month were you averaging doing an off-duty job, sir?
Well, CPS, which was like probably like once a week.
All right. And how much were you getting paid for those jobs? You get paid an hourly rate or a specific daily rate?
For CPS, we was getting paid $45 an hour.
Okay. And how many hours each month were you working for CPS?
I would say probably like 32, maybe.
Right, so, and for the months of March, April, May, June, and July, and August, sir, were you doing any work for CPS during that time frame?
Yes, sir.
All right. And these side jobs, they're always with CPS, or is there are there any other third parties or secondary parties that you work for, sir?
No, sir. Like I say, if it's like a party or something, like I'll go do it just to make money to have like gas and food in my house for the kids and stuff. So
yes, sir. All right, thank you. And I'm sorry, what exactly did you do for CPS?
So I'm sure you're familiar with CPS. We had the houses in Killeen and Temple with the kids, and basically we basically did like security to make sure the kids didn't assault the staff members and stuff like that.
Okay. All right, then I was just trying to see exactly what your job was. So I wasn't sure if you were out in the field helping them pick up kids or things like that. All right.
Oh, no, sir.
All right, thank you. All right. One final time. Since the judge opened up that can of worms, any questions, Ms. Carter?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Diamond?
Nothing, Your Honor.
All right, folks, and obviously there's nobody else here in the Zoom meeting except those folks on YouTube. So at this time, I'll ask for closing statements and closing arguments, and and obviously I'll start with you, Ms. Carter, and then take it to the state. And Mrs. Stelle, if there's you wish to make a closing statement or a closing argument, then you can. You're your own representative, but you don't have to unless you want to. So at this time, I'll start with Ms. Carter, then go to Mr. Diamond, and then to Mrs. Stelle. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Just in closing, again, my client's asking for a 50-50 possession schedule. He works a 14-day on, 14-day off schedule with the police department. Per his testimony and Mrs. Stelle's testimony, as well as exhibits that were entered into evidence. He has been consistently exercising 50-50 possession schedule. He exercised 15 days out of 31 in March, 12 days out of 30 in April, 15 out of 31 in May, 14 out of 30 in June, 17 out of 31 in July, and 15 out of 31 in August. And again, that was for almost all of them except for March. Both parties agreed to that. Also, as Mrs. Stelle stated, you know, it's a 4-day on, 3-day off. My client has been exercising a 50-50 possession schedule at this time. He has been consistently exercising a 50-50 possession schedule since the parties separated in February of 2024, per my client's testimony. Therefore, due to the fact that my client is exercising significantly more than the standard possession schedule that was previously ordered, my client is asking that child support at this time be terminated, and that 50 possession schedule be ordered by the court today, so he maintains that time with the children as they, according to my client's testimony, are thriving in school. They have a great relationship with both parents. They have a great relationship with my client. My client testified that he is able to get the kids to school in a timely manner, and that he's able to do so and keep the kids' lives the way that they have been since March of 2024. And that's what we're asking in the court today. Thank you, Judge.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Carter. Mr. Diamond.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state's requesting court to confirm arrears in the medical, well, no arrears in the child support, medical support arrears. And I had it up a minute ago, Your Honor. Well, I'm going to try to get it back. It was 800 something, and it was deferred to the court on the repayment amount. 9:30 is the day I'd request the court to confirm the arrears. Your Honor, as the court knows, as a matter of policy, I'm to request guideline child support. The argument that I would make in favor of that is that I think that Mrs. Stelle ought to be commended for working with the father to get time with his children, even though she's the custodial parent. And the effect would be to punish her for working with the father. She could have stonewalled and said, "No, I'm gonna do whatever I need to do to ensure that my child support is maintained." I think that she ought to be commended rather than punished for making the kids available to the father. Regarding the possession and access, Your Honor, I'll stay out of that and request the court to maintain the third-party non-disclosure that was previously ordered.
All right, thank you very much. All right, Mrs. Stelle, anything you want to tell me in closing, ma'am?
I would just like, as Mr. Diamond stated, I don't want to be punished for like having to lose my children's support from their father. And I don't ask Mr. Cade for anything outside of what is coming in for the children. I have never once went out of my way to ask for any extra funds, whatever is not covered, not only by my own expenses or by his funds that come in. I don't ask for anything extra, but I will also like to request that we do the court order text message that Mr. Diamond did present to us, because Mr. Cade is a very unnice person.
So you have to explain to it why, but you're asking for the court to go ahead and order y'all to start doing everything through a parenting app?
Yes.
Okay, so you're asking me the court to order everything going forward, y'all use app close?
Yes.
All right, and I'll ask, okay, you can continue your closing, ma'am. Anything else in closing?
Other than that, no. As stated, we do work well when it comes to the children and trying to coordinate until mine and Mr. Cade's feelings get in the way, and then it's a power struggle of, are you going to get the kids or not? And it's well, I can't get them because I have to work. Other than that, he's a great father to his children, and I would never take that away from him.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Carter, do you have a problem with the court ordering ACCOs going forward?
None at all, Your Honor.
All right, I wouldn't think so. We love parenting apps. They come in so darn handy.
I really
All
do.
right, folks, here's what we're going to do. Judge is going to go ahead and, yeah, I love taking stuff under advisement, but since the judge is not a big time 50-50 guy, doesn't come up often. Of course, it comes up every year at Advanced Family and every year at the legislature, and I do follow it, but since it's not mandated by the legislature yet, obviously it's left up to the court. So I'm gonna take this one under advisement, look at the math of everything and see what I'll do appropriately. You know, this is we're dealing with money, so I'll figure out whether or not to grant the full request, or I'm going to do the Solomon thing and actually cut the baby in half as far as funds are concerned. But I'll figure out what I feel is in the best interest of these kids and the parties going forward, and I'll make that ruling. And I'm gonna go ahead and reset this for nobody has to appear. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and reset this for one of my Zoom dockets. And let's get out of let's get this up. Let me get this somewhere past Veterans Day, just to be on the safe side. I think next week is going to be a little hectic. Here we go. Anyway, I love the way Zoom changed things around, so I can't look at the calendar, the full calendar at the month, but I got to do it week by week. So let's see. Oh God, no, yeah, that's what I thought. So yeah. All right, so I'm going to reset this for Tuesday the 12th. That is the Bell County and not Falls County. Good enough. I'm worried for a ruling. Hopefully, I'll have it out before then. But if not, I'll read it into the record at that time. And like I say, parties don't have to appear, attorneys don't have to appear, but you can if you wish. So again, I'm resetting that for ruling on that time and date. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you everybody very much. And I guess we're officially off the record.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm real glad that at least 50-50s come somewhat since I was a practicing attorney. The 2 times we actually used it when I was a practicing attorney, we had parents who bought houses near each other and the kids lived on the same block. I did that twice. It's nice to have clients with big time money, okay? So yeah.
I've had that one come up a couple of times myself, where it was the intention for those parties to.
But yeah, so anyway, I'm glad I commend these folks who are working it out. Hey, I've been a family lawyer since 84, and believe me, you folks may have your problems, but you're doing better than 98% of the folks I have to deal with. All right, so keep up the good work, take care of those kids. And Mr. Cade, you need to stop following me around, sir, because I think you're following in my footsteps. My college girlfriend lived in Mart. My kids were in Bruceville Eddy. I've been to too many programs at the elementary complex up there. And of course, I went to, I'm a product of Belton and Killeen Independent School District. So I went to school at Grand Fair, and my law office was in Harker Heights. So yeah. So yeah, that's way too much.
Don't let me find out you're a Rolling Stone, Judge. Don't let me find out you're a Rolling Stone.
No. My mom taught at Killeen, so we lived in Belton. Dr. Ellison insisted that I go to school in Killeen. So when the name high school is after you in Killeen, you do what the doctor says. All right. So that. Yes, and my dad was a special forces guy, so we never traveled with him. So we were always there. So but anyway, I commend you folks again. It's relationships are hard. Yeah, I know. So yeah. So anyway, everybody have a safe weekend out there, and I'll have that done and set up on the 12th, and I'll go ahead and actually what I'm going to go ahead and do is move this Zoom code to that date at 10:15. So technically, y'all don't even have to log into the general docket date. This Zoom code will be available after the docket call, and I'll open it back up and make the ruling. So if y'all want to be there, that'll be fine. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
May we be excused?
Yes, everybody's excused, and we're off the. We've been off the record. Thank you.
Taking almost $1,600 out of my pocket just for her benefit is ridiculous. And she know it is. You don't realize people have bills and other obligations. You just sit there trying to say that it's a big chunk of money left over, and it's not.
I said
Because
the
I'm sitting here telling you that I'm having a hardship with the money, but you're telling me that I have more than enough to pay my bills. And I don't see how you can, you know what I'm saying, tell me I have more than enough to pay my bills and I don't. Like, how you supposed to survive like that? I just don't understand it, but okay.